big. OMTG.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion fits? Putting on the Ritz. Different types to wear a day coat, pants with stripes and cutaway coat, perfect fit. Putting on the Ritz. Dress up like $1,000,000 trooper, trying hard to look like Gary Cooper. Come, let's mix where Rockefellers walk with sticks or umbrellas in the mix. Putting on the Ritz. Have you seen the well-to-do up and down Park Avenue on that famous thoroughfare with their noses in the air? High hats and arrow collars, white spats and lots of dollars, spending every dime for a wonderful time. If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the Ritz. Different types to wear a day coat, pants with stripes and cutaway coat, perfect fits. Putting on the Ritz. Dress up like $1,000,000 trooper, trying hard to look like Gary Cooper. Come, let's mix where Rockefellers walk with sticks or umbrellas in the midst. Putting on the Ritz. You don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the Ritz. Putting on the Ritz. Putting on the Ritz. Putting on the Ritz. The Ritz. Dining wine, but not till noon. The time is right for us tonight. We can move to the rhythm. We can move. Putting it on the R-I-T-C. How about you and me, Debbie?
Chapel and we're gonna get married. Going to the chapel and we're gonna get married. We really love you and we're gonna get married. Going to the chapel of love. Bring
listen to that. Oh, you guys are just, oh, my goodness. Oh, what a lovely, lovely studio audience. I think we must have gotten a bunch of upgrades here at the OMTG show. Well, welcome. Welcome, everybody, to this week's fabulously entertaining and informative OMTG show. Yes, brought to you by Sterling Vineyards, Napa Valley, Cabernet Sauvignon 2011. Just because I happen to have a bottle sitting right next to me. But better to have a bottle in front of me than a funnel behind me. All I'm saying, kids, that's what counts, right? Yes, it's show number 35, kids. We are growing up so fast. Oh, I tell you, here we are, smack dab, in the center, in the middle. Yes, right smack dab in it in June, wedding event season. So naturally, on this week's show, we have one of the world's leading innovators in event design, Rrivre Davies, as our featured guest. Yes, Rrivre has literally paved the way in event planning through his unique and custom-made design. And since 1994, Rrivre Davies has been the creative force behind Rrivre Works, Incorporated. He has been producing unique rental furniture and creating custom event designs infused with his experience and extensive knowledge of art, film, architecture, floor design, and global cultures. Yes, that's exciting. Oh, I love it. Can't wait to have them on. Now, our Just a Tip list this week comes from event planners across the country who share some of their own personal industry insights into planning a successful event with the tips offered by event planners that you can use. And this week's Jukebox 5-song selections are designed to create that ultimate Hollywood-infused event spectacular, inspired in large part by this week's OMTG featured guest, Rrivre Davies, one of the world's leading innovators in event design. So slip on your Jimmy shoes. Oh, let me take a little step. That'll help me. Delicious. Buttery overtones and blueberry and boysenberry. It's delicious. So slip on your Jimmy shoes, kids, and sashay onto the scene with songs by Murray Head, Eddie Murphy, Housewives of Atlanta's Kim Zolciak, newlywed Kim Kardashian, and the iconic Hollywood star of stars, Miss Marilyn Monroe. But before we start putting on the ritz with our event and wedding planners of the star, Rrivre Davies, I want to remind our listeners that if you have missed any of our previous shows, you can catch all of our show recordings at Spreaker.com or Facebook.com/OHMTG to get your fill of conversation, music, and laughter. And every time you listen to an OMTG show, a gay angel gets their very own ultimate celestial wedding event designed by Rrivre Davies and Rrivre Works, Inc. Oh, I hope I get one of those. That sounds just fantastic. Yes, kids, it's shits and giggle time. Our crap that makes you laugh. Those slice-of-life moments that happen all around us. And this week's Huffington Post Dumb Crimes headline, which is our favorite place to go to for our shits and giggles, reads thusly: high school senior denied diploma after stripping at graduation. Listen to this one, kids. Quentin Murphy was strutting across the stage during his high school graduation from Jack Britt High School in Fayetteville, North Carolina, just recently, when he suddenly stripped down to a pair of leopard print skivvies. WRAL.com reports the stripping surprised many of the audience, who mostly erupted in laughter. Now, the senior had definitely had the pump, but school officials assumed that it wasn't the right circumstance to tear off his ceremonial gown. When he walked off stage, still in his leopard skin undies, police officers escorted him to another area. Cumberland County School Superintendent Dr. Frank Till told the Fayetteville Observer, "Our schools have worked so hard," Till told the paper. "It used to be that the audience will be disrupted at graduation. We've worked hard to get the audiences to respect our students. This young man chose not to show respect for his colleagues. Once Murphy was taken away, the ceremony continued as if nothing had happened. Murphy was not arrested, no, but he was stripped of his diploma. He is also barred from the school's property in events like football games, MyFox8.com reports. Even though Murphy won't get the piece of paper, he will still be considered a graduate and will be credited as such on his transcript. Meanwhile, there are few other high school graduations scheduled in Cumberland County, but Cumberland County School Superintendent Dr. Frank Till is warning students that there will be long-term consequences for anyone who shares Murphy's naked ambition, according to WNCN.com. Well, I say here on the OMTG show, that's not a dumb crime. I think it's marvelous. And if you go and check that out on HuffingtonPost.com, high school senior Quentin Murphy, who was denied his diploma after stripping at graduation, you're going to say kudos to him, Gunny. He is mighty fine. I hope he's at least 18 when I'm saying this. I hope he's at least legal. Anyway, so kudos to Quentin, who is an example of how important it is to work out at the gym. So that's all I'm going to say. And in my humble opinion, he should wear nothing but leopard skin skivvies every single day of his life. Good. This one's for you, Quentin. This one's for you. Cue the music, kid. We got an upgrade on the doorbell. Well, let's just go over to the door and let's see what wonderful person is behind it. Oh, Rrivre Davies.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Our audience is so excited that you're here tonight.
I'm excited to be here.
Well, I didn't quite need to have the stripper music preceding you so closely to your arrival, but I hope that maybe puts you, at a level of comfort because you are in Vegas, so it shouldn't be too unusual.
I thought you might be being a little suggestive there.
Well, you should have worn pants to the interview, but that's okay. We don't judge. You're not the first guest to not wear pants to the interview, so relax, enjoy yourself. Because what happens in Vegas doesn't have to stay in Vegas. It doesn't. So that's why we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, when we bring our guests onto OMTG, we love to vet them properly. We're not only an entertainment venture here, we're an educational venture too. So we want to educate our audience and our listeners just how fabulous you are. So we're going to read your bio here, which is quite impressive. So sit back, take a drink of that cocktail, which I know is sitting right next to you. Okay? And enjoy.
Heard of me, huh?
Oh, I have. Now, Rrivre Davies, kids, is a third-generation carpenter and designer who places great importance on quality design and production by creating sweeping dreamscapes for large-scale weddings, corporate events, and industry celebrations such as film premieres, award shows, and product launches. He is the current National Vice President for WIPA, Wedding Industry Professionals Association, WIPA is the most respected national community for wedding professionals who want to be recognized as masters and innovators. Rrivre is also a member of International Special Events Society, ISES, an organization dedicated to delivering creative excellence and professionalism in special events. And it was also named by BizBash as one of the industry's top innovators. And in 2012, Rrivre Davies was named Designer of the Year by Event Solutions and was the recipient of their Spotlight Award, which I think is very impressive. Oh, but that's not all, kids. Some of Rrivre's most notable clients include Disney, Showtime, Warner Brothers Studios, Miramax Films, HBO, ABC, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the National Association of Television Program Executives, the Directors Guild of America, and many, many more. Rrivre has also worked with numerous celebrity clients on their personal events, most notably Michael Jordan, Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, Mariah Carey, and the wedding of Nick and Vanessa Lackey. For more information on Rrivre Works, just visit rrivreworks.com. That's RRIVREWORKS.com. Wow, that's a mouthful. I love it.
You almost don't need me here.
Oh, that's not true. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. Well, we have to pet you properly. We have to make sure we roll out that red carpet and put lots of glitter in the air because we want to have a good time. So, what's your cocktail of choice this evening?
Well, I haven't started yet because once I start, I get going. Vodka with lemon water zero.
Oh, nice. Well, tonight's show is brought to us by Sterling Vineyards from the Napa Valley, Cabernet Sauvignon 2011. Because that's what I have here.
Nice. Wish I was there sharing that with you.
All right. Well, I'll send you a bottle. It'll be my pleasure. Now, this is chat time with Rrivre Davies, kids. Yeah, as I mentioned, he's calling to the show from Las Vegas, but not to worry. As I said, what happened in Vegas is not going to stay in Vegas tonight because Rrivre is about to spill the beans on what's happening in his world. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, the month of June, Rrivre, is the height of wedding season. So thanks again for taking time out of your insanely busy schedule to chat with us. Thanks to your PR man, Carlos Torres, a good friend of mine who sent you to us. Yeah, and so with that in mind, I want you to take a deep breath and describe to us what your planner looks like for this month.
Well, it is the height of wedding season, and on top of wedding season, we're always constantly building and designing new products because we don't simply plan the weddings or have a hand in the process of designing the weddings, but we also actually design and build all of the elements, all the furniture, all the draping, all the 38-foot tall Eiffel Tower, whatever it is that you envision, we actually build it in-house. So, and we're always innovating stuff, even if it's not for any particular wedding or any particular bride or corporate mogul's vision. We're just designing and building stuff that I had out of my crazy head to introduce it to the market, to bring it out. So, we have a team of people in the office making sure all the events happen well. We've got a team of artisans in the studio just working nonstop, building and designing new and innovative projects.
Wow. Well, thank God for your crazy head. I love it. So June is, do you literally have, every day in June has something going on? There's some element happening in June for you?
In terms of events happening every day? We probably have, not every day, but we probably have 5 to 9 events a week happening. No, not always every day.
Wow.
Sometimes there's 4 on one day. So,
Four in one day?
It's a pretty busy month. Yeah, because remember, we deal with lots of different elements. Sometimes we're only delivering the furniture for the event, or sometimes they're just renting the furniture that we're doing, and other times we're actually doing the entire event. So that's how we can balance it out.
So what's happening in Vegas with you right now? What brings you to Vegas besides that lemon vodka cocktail that you're going to have?
I'm actually in Vegas for a meeting with a I don't know if I can actually say who it is, but it's one of the nicest hotels in Vegas, and they're actually doing a pop-up hotel in Los Angeles. So I'm here to have a meeting with them to talk to them about what that's going to look like and how we're going to design that. It's a pop-up
Well, that's really
experience.
exciting. For those of us not in the know, which hopefully it won't be many of us for very long here, what is a pop-up hotel? It sounds kind of
what it is a pop-up experience, what they're doing. And it's a hotel that doesn't have a presence in Los Angeles, but it has a presence in most of the major cities in the world. And they really want to introduce to some people the high rollers and stuff in LA who may not have stayed in their hotel, but also to the travel writers and everything. They want to kind of give them the experience that their hotel provides, and it has very distinct service, this hotel. So we're actually taking over an estate, and we're going to and we found an estate that has similar aesthetics to the hotel, but we're going to add our own elements. We're bringing in a chef's kitchen. We're putting it behind a glass wall so that the guests have a similar experience as they would in the hotel. And we're hosting a series of events, all with the chefs from the restaurant and the staff and the servers from the restaurant and all the management, so that they can have the opportunity to share the kind of immersive experience they would have if they came to the hotel, and give them a chance to talk about their product. And that's really a lot of what we do with a lot of events that aren't social events, as corporate events, is really trying to give the guests of the event the experience that the corporation, the car company, the entertainment company wants to deliver. It's kind of the psychology of events and design, and how you kind of manipulate people's emotions by the design and the way you set things up. In a good way, of course.
Are you going to manipulate my emotions this evening? I'm very fragile.
You need to be in my 3D space. If you're into my space, I can manipulate you.
Okay. It's a deal. It's a deal. Done deal. Now, as you know, in Los Angeles and real estate, it's all about location. So, with that in mind, where do you? Can you give us an idea what kind of a location setting you're looking for to do this pop-up hotel experience?
We chose a very modern estate. Actually in the hills, but it doesn't really have much of a view from the areas that we're using. But it's a very modern estate. So we're just going to bring in very sleek, elegant, probably some of our water tables, our tables that have water elements in them. We may have some koi fish swimming in the tables. We're going to have some tables with fire in them. So it's a house that really kind of a blank slate. It has very clean lines, very high ceilings, very few colors. It's more about the way the space was designed. So it provides us a lot of opportunity to really focus people's attention on what we wanted them to focus on.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, listen to that, kids. A pop-up hotel experience on a private estate in the hills of Hollywood. Oh,
yeah, I hope I get invited.
I'd love. Yeah, you better. I bet. I have a feeling you will. Now, I'm curious as to, to me, one of my favorite things. I love to read. Ever since I was a kid, I always loved to read, and as I got a little older, I'd love to read, particularly autobiographies, because I love to find out how people become who they are. And I think yours is a really, really interesting story. And I'm just curious as to what were the pivotal factors that led you, Rrivre Davies, featured guest here on OM Teaching, to creating your company. A little plug, yeah. What were the pivotal factors that led you to creating your company, Rrivre Works, Incorporated, in 1994?
Wow. Well, it was kind of a fluke. I really didn't even know that this kind of an industry existed, and back in 94 it didn't exist to the extent it exists now. But I was actually, I had been working in the film industry. I went to Berkeley for Latin American Studies, of all things. And,
wow.
And I just always loved art, but my parents always told me with an art degree and a nickel, I'd be a nickel short of a cup of coffee. So they kind of talked me out of an art degree. So kind of behind their back, I did a minor in art history and really just was passionate about art. And so I graduated and by happenstance ended up working in the film industry by a fluke of whatever, and it wasn't intended. I was just, believe it or not, some of my parents' friends offered me a job, and my parents were like, sure, go for it. I'm like, please, you told me not to do art. They're like, yeah, but you have a degree now, so you can do art. I'm like, oh, great. So I was working in the film industry, and my roommate, yeah, exactly. My roommate at the time was working on the premiere for Pocahontas, for Disney's Pocahontas, and he asked me to come to a meeting because they were looking for someone to do buffet design. And I'm like, well, shit, heck, I design films, I design movies, TV commercials. I can probably design a buffet, right?
Yeah.
So I went to the meeting, and we're sitting down there in the meeting at Hamburger Hammer when it existed in Hollywood, and they asked me, how would you design this party? And I said, the party or the buffet? And they said, no, the party. You're here to design the party. Oh, my God. And I turned red.
Well, you got upgraded right in a moment.
In the moment, it was a 4.0 upgrade.
Nothing like being put on something. And thus, Rrivre Works was born. Yeah, so how did you have that moment?
I gave him the evil eye, and I went, okay, you can do this. And I pulled out a piece of paper, and I said, how big a tent can we have? Oh, no, they said, how big a tent do you want? And I said, okay, quick response. How big a tent will fit in the parking lot? And they told me the size of the parking lot. And I said, well, for 800 people, you need a tent at least that big. And I pulled out a piece of paper, and I drew a floor plan for the party. And they loved the concepts. And I worked for 6 months on it. In the end, I made absolutely no money because I made so many mistakes. But the party came out beautifully. And everybody who attended who was in the industry started throwing me work because they said it was the most beautiful party they'd ever seen. And I thought, okay, well, here's my new job.
Oh, wow.
And,
that's wonderful.
Yes. So I started doing that, and then what I noticed back then was there was a real deficit in available decor items for events. They were readily available for films, but the product you used in films, were prop houses, and so they'd been there for years, and they were dusty and dirty because dust and dirt and stains and tears don't show up on film, or didn't before HD film came out. I'm dating myself in this interview. And so,
oh shit, I'm all over the hills, so don't even worry about it. You're just a tyke. You're just a tyke on the radio.
So they didn't have, numerous pieces that matched. So I thought, you know what? And they were charging outrageous prices for this furniture. So, I'm going to start building my own furniture. So I just started building my own furniture for events because I built houses with my dad and furniture with my grandpa. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. So started building furniture, and then my house became a warehouse and full of furniture, and then I rented storage units. But I just started building stuff. I saw a need, and I filled the need, and that's really what started the kind of prop house part of the prop house and the production and the building part of the business. It wasn't something I sat out and said, I'm going to create this business. I just kept identifying holes in the industry and wanted to improve what was available to people and wanted to change the industry a little bit.
Well, yeah, as you discovered what needed to be met, you met those needs. So
I'm also kind of good at creating needs for people. What didn't exist, I kind of told them they had to have.
That's a talent. Telling people what they need. But I love that you got a degree in Latin American Studies at Berkeley, because I tell you, the extent of my Latin American Studies is just ogling some of the go-go dances at Mickey's in West Hollywood. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah, I think you did me a little better. Yours is probably a little more depth to it. So
at least I can talk to them. I'm
like, at least you have something to say. So God bless you.
Well, yeah, and I can say it in Spanish.
Oh no, you're making it even worse for me. I'll just stick to my Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon 2011 from Sterling Vineyard. Thank you very much. Now I'm curious, as is our listening audience, because they're all just chomping at the bit here. Where did your knowledge of art, film, architecture, floor design, global cultures, where did all that come from, and how does each one of those components influence your event planning designs? You might want to take notes on this, kid.
Yeah. I've always been a very visual person. I've always been very stimulated by visual things. I was explaining to a friend the other day, I said it's kind of a little bit of a torment in my life because, you know, most people when they're driving down the street, they can drive down the street and they can enjoy the overall view of what they're looking at. I have to analyze, my mind analyzes every crack in the road, the shape of it, you know, the leaves on the trees, how much of the leaf has turned yellow, how much has got some mildew on it, like the flowers, you know, what time is my mind is just, anything visual, my mind just is always looking at it, you know. Don't ask me to deal with numbers, but anything visual, my mind loves that stuff. So, unfortunately, my parents, when we were younger, really believed traveling was a source of great education for us. So I was now, mind you, when I say I traveled a lot, I mean I camped a lot because my parents did not believe in the Ritz-Carlton. So by the time I went to
I camp all the time too, but that's a whole different kind of camp. But yes.
Oh my goodness.
So you roughed it in the wilderness.
We campers. So, you know, by the time I was in college, I've traveled to like 30 countries, but we camped the whole way. And so, you know, it wasn't amazing. It was great. It wasn't luxurious, but it was great experience. And, you know, I got to see a lot of things that a lot of people hadn't been exposed to. So that really helped me get a grasp of different styles, because, you know, the styles come from cultural influences. So I was really able to get a sense of different styles, and because fortunately the way we traveled, we really were among the people and stuff. I got to see their homes. I got to see, you know, I saw both the modern and the traditional aspects of the different cultures. So that was a really great experience for me in terms of being able to reproduce or create something with an influence of because I have been to a lot of places. And the whole floral aspect of it was, again, these friends of my parents who offered me a job, actually, while I was in my underwear, sleeping on my parents' sofa one day.
I saw that
they
picture.
came in. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That was,
yeah. I posted it on my Facebook page. I hope you don't mind.
Fortunately, I was in good shape then. But they
nonetheless, go ahead.
Yeah, they offered me a job, and basically they really needed somebody that was artistic, that they could mentor to become kind of their right-hand person because they were getting too much work. And he was actually a production designer and an art director, and she was a food stylist, a floral designer, and a set decorator. And They said, can you learn all of this quickly? And I said, yes.
Can I?
So I kind of immersed myself in what we did, and I worked with them for a very brief period of time, for about a year and a half, and then they moved to Australia. And I was like, gee, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Can you learn this fast? Because we want to skedaddle.
Yeah. I'm like, well, they were my career plan. But fortunately, they were really wonderful teachers, and they really handed me a lot on my plate. And they were very long hours and everything else, but I really did get like an immersion, you know, lesson on a lot of stuff. And I learned just enough to be dangerous and to muddle my way into situations where I made mistakes and covered them up and kind of got good at what I was making mistakes at. So
I think it's really interesting because, like, going back to the point that you made about, you know, staying in your travels before you even got to college, you said maybe upwards of 30 different countries and places that you've been, and staying, you know, with the people, camping, not staying at, you know, nice hotels and this and that. And, you know, you really got your literally your fingers in the dirt, the culture, every time. And don't you think that really helped you gain a lot of street smarts? Because that's what I'm getting out of what you're saying, is that when you're put in a situation, you've gotten the opportunity, you know, in your life to observe so many people and so many things, you know, that really has helped you, you know, really to be able to make those decisions in the moment and to pick up to pick up skills very quickly. I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it helps. It helps a lot, and to also understand where people are coming from when they try and describe what it is they're looking for, because people don't always have the ability to come right out and say it. But when you deal with a lot of different cultures and different people and different languages you don't speak, you find other ways of understanding what they're saying. And actually, just a little quick side story. My father, when I really opened my eyes. My parents, their whole focus was opening my eyes to different cultures. But I just remember when I was 15, we went to Morocco, and we were in Tangiers, and it was like my first day there. And for anybody who hasn't been to Morocco, it's our whole world in and of itself. It's like going back 400 years in time. The traditional parts of Morocco. Nowadays, there's a much more modern part of Morocco that's beautiful and wonderful as well. But anyhow, we're walking through the old town, with these goat heads hanging and cobras hanging off of donkeys that are going through the Medina to be sold for eating, and it was just
that sounds like Silver Lake. I'm just saying.
On a Wednesday.
That deserves a rim shot. Rrivre Davies, ladies and gentlemen, he'll be here all week. And you're walking through this market with all these really would be unusual imagery for you at 15.
And the word I used was weird, and of course I was kind of a smaller kid, so my dad was holding my hand because it was a little bit dangerous at that point in time. My dad was holding my hand, and I just said to him, I said, these people are weird. And he squeezed my hand so hard I could have sworn he was going to break my hand. And he looked at me, he said, they are no weirder to you than you are to them. And at that point in time, my whole mind, he basically blew my mind, because he basically said, while showing me, he said, change your cultural perspective, young man, because where you live is not the world. And it really helped kind of open up.
Well, how quickly did that resonate to you? Did it really hit you in the moment? Or is that something that kind of unfolded over the... Oh, wow.
Immediately, because I started looking at people.
He really squeezed your hand hard.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was serious. I remember what I was like. Yeah. Because I remember what I was like when I was 15. I mean, my dad would have had to, there would have been lemon juice coming out of my hand for me to get it in that moment. Yeah, wow, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, I'm just glad it wasn't a scene like from AbFab where Patsy is trying to sell you to, get you out of the picture and just sell you to slavery. I'm glad you actually made it out of there with your family.
He would have, but my mom was there.
Oh, well, yeah. Thank you, Mom. But speaking of family, and I think this is a wonderful, wonderful part of your story, because one of the most gratifying things that I get out of doing the show is really helping people to tap into their stories, because I think that's the most interesting part of who people are, and that's what we want to hear. And I love the story about your grandfather, your connection to your grandfather, and how that continues to influence your life. Let's talk about him and his carpentry workshop. Now, how did your relationship with your grandfather influence and inspire the creative spirit that you are today?
Well, I think that it really well, I mean, I just remember being a child, and I didn't see my grandparents that often, but I remember whenever I would go to their house, my grandfather always had a wood shop. No matter where he lived, he had a wood shop. And I just remember we would go out into his wood shop, and we would start building stuff. One day I went out there, we'd build a table. The next day I went out there, we'd build a stool with spun legs, with legs that we made on a lathe. And so it was just part of what he did was we made stuff, and actually, interestingly enough, I had his lathe now, the thing that you do spun wood on, but like spindle legs and stuff. But so that was really, it was really fun as a kid. It didn't seem like work. It seemed like he took pieces of wood that were just chunks of wood, and we created really nice pieces of furniture. We're not talking like, you know, oh yeah, I made this in my garage kind of furniture. I mean, this was like beautiful furniture that you stained and varnished, and it looked like it came from a store, and we would whip it out in a day. I mean, he was really talented. And then, of course, my dad and my grandfather was an engineer and a carpenter. Like, he was an engineer and a carpenter. My father was an engineer and a contractor, and I'm just an artist. I'm an artist and a carpenter, but hey, you know, my stuff is more creative than theirs.
Mm-hmm.
But it was
that carpentry influence. Is that, you know, you're a third generation carpenter. I love how that's continued on through each generation. What does having your grandfather's lathe and toolbox remind you of each day?
Well, I'll tell you, we deal with very wealthy people and very wealthy corporations on a daily basis all the time, and you know, I see people in our industry get a little high on that the closeness to the money. They start losing themselves a little bit because, you know, they're riding in a Rolls Royce to Spagos for a meeting, and you know, we just kind of you get sucked into it. And I keep my grandfather's toolbox on my desk, and you know, having his lathe, and I always remind myself that my great grandfather was a sewer sweeper in the sewers of London. My grandfather was a carpenter. You know, and I just keep myself humble. It doesn't matter where my family's come to today, whatever success we have, you know, individually or as a family, we come from humble people, and there's nothing wrong with that. And no matter where I am, I'm always going to remember that, because I think that's what keeps me hungry to design and create more stuff, is because I'm never satisfied. I'm rooted in my history. But because of that root, I feel like I was there and now I can do anything. So I just keep creating to see what I can turn myself into. But I always keep connected to that, because it keeps me humble in this crazy world that we're in this industry, I should say.
It keeps you grounded. Keeps me grounded. Yeah, it really stood out to me that you had those particular things, because you know, I think that both the lathe and the toolbox, you know, people's beliefs are all over the map, but I love, like, one of my favorite shows, one of my favorite not guilty pleasures is the Long Island medium, you know, Teresa Caputo, and I love it. I think that having your toolbox and the toolbox and the lathe of your grandfather, I think his spirit is attached to those items, and I think that's wonderful that helps keep you grounded and connected to that experience, to family, to tradition, and just keeps you grounded. Because, yeah, I mean, let's face it, there is that side of Los Angeles, Hollywood, and all the things that we're a part of that can lead us astray if we get too immersed in riding in a limo to a meeting too often. So I love that you keep yourself grounded with these wonderful, simple elements that were a very key influence in your life.
But everybody, he'd be happy going to a meeting in the limo any day of the week, right? I mean,
hello.
I
took a limo to the studio tonight. I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't want you to tarnish your reputation here.
Right, thank you. That's why I had to pour a little more Sterling Vineyards Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon 2011. Yeah. No, I assume that you're still traveling, not just to Las Vegas for the time at this moment for a meeting, but how do your artistic and design styles continue to be influenced by your travels? How do you continue to sort of let that experience influence what you do as a designer, as an artist?
Well, I think it's changed now that I've been in the business. God, do I say it? 20 years?
Yes, you can.
Because
say it 20 years.
But I started when I was 12. So I'm only 32. You
were a fetus. Yes.
Yes, exactly. it's changed because before what I was doing, what I was taking, what I learned and what I had seen when people would come to me and say, oh, we want this kind of event and we want that, I was applying design to my events and the furniture and stuff that I was building. Now that I have 20 years of experience, and when I had 12 and 14 and 15 and 18 years of experience and all the different challenges that I faced in those times, now when I travel, and I see things, I'm able to not only appreciate the design and the aesthetics of it, but I look more for, like, how do I solve engineering problems, because that's something I really push the limit in my designs in terms of what engineering can do. And that sounds weird when you think of events, but we've really engineered some really great stuff that other people haven't necessarily been able to master because
well, that's the wow factor in what you do.
That's the wow factor. And so now when I see things, I'm looking at it from not only the beautiful aspect of it, but the challenge aspect of it. And it's really amazing. When you really open your eyes up, it's incredibly amazing how even in the simplest construction, the simplest culture, or even the most advanced culture, they apply things in a way that can absolutely relate to what we're doing for a one-day party that you would have never really thought about had you not known the party world existed. So unless someone who's been in the party world has gone to look at that thing and had the party, like, our event world in mind, it's not brought to the event world. So it's fun to keep going out there and seeing new things and really experiencing from a more, I guess you could say, from a more mature perspective now, if I have to put it that way.
We'll say seasoned.
Seasoned. There you go.
I love my seasoning.
We do like the spices. We do love the spices.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. And then that's a wonderful, from a throwback for you. It's wonderful you get to incorporate those elements from your life experience in the work that you do. It really keeps you connected, and just it really. I mean, you are so much an integral part of what you do. It's not like you're just grabbing ideas, throwing them together, and that you don't feel any kind of personal connection to what you do. It really sounds like you infuse your life experience in the work that you do, and I think that really is a large part of why you've been able to sustain the success that you have.
Well,
what are your thoughts?
I really do love what I do, and I never really looked at parties and events as just that. To me, they were never a party or an event. To me, they were always an invitation from the people that are inviting me to participate in their party or their event into an important day in their life. It's more than just a business contract. They're saying, hey, this is my wedding day. This is my 50th anniversary. This is my son's bar mitzvah. To them, these are hugely important days. So I almost got out of the business when I first started. I've been in like 3 years, and tell me if my stories are too long, but I've been in business for like 3 years. Actually, don't tell me. I'm going to tell them anyhow.
I love it. You talk. This is. We don't put limits on ourselves here on OMTG. You share your story, and please just continue. I love it.
So I almost got out of the business, and I was doing the wedding for this actress on the top of on the restaurant on top of one of the skyscrapers downtown LA. I can't remember the name of which one it was. It was one of the tallest, and there was a restaurant at the top, and she brought me in to do a bunch of draping and furniture, and we became kind of walking buddies at the time. We walked, went on walks with the dogs and talked about her event. We became kind of close, and she said to me, "You must love what you do." And I said, I really love the artistic expression of it, but I think I'm going to get out of it and do something more meaningful because, it's just kind of part. She said, more meaningful. She said, are you kidding me? She said, on my wedding day, you are helping create the memories. She said, and she literally said, when I'm on my deathbed I'm going to reflect on my life. And one of the days I'm going to reflect on is my wedding day. She said, you were an integral part of making that day beautiful. And that is nothing small. She said, I'm inviting you to do this for me. And I went, wow. Like, it was the first time I kind of went, these moments are really important to people. And then I went back and I started thinking about history, because I love history. I started thinking about history, and I started thinking about my travels, and I started thinking about, my family is English, so I started thinking about the pomp and the circumstance of all the English, regalias and royalty and horse races and all that crap that we do. And I was thinking, what are events? Events are really the talismans of human history. They are the things that we use to mark changes in our lives. Birthdays, graduations, bar mitzvahs, anniversaries, weddings, births. And I thought, grand openings for events, stores, which, and I thought, what an honor to be able to be part of that process of actually helping people express themselves on these very important days to them. And I stopped feeling like I wasn't doing anything for people, and I started feeling like I was actually really helping people create the talismans of their life. And at the same time, I was able to employ a lot of artists, who otherwise wouldn't have work, and, and allow them a livelihood. And I thought, maybe this isn't such a bad job. Maybe this is really actually is giving back. And then, as I became more successful, I found ways to give back through charity, because I have all the inventory and I have all the team and the talent. So we do give a lot back to charity. And so I really changed my perspective on it, and now I really see it as a really beautiful gift to be able to be part of this in people's lives.
Yeah, I love it. You're not. Wow, this is like a learning moment. Every show, I love it. There's always this inevitable moment where it's like, oh wow, the whole new perspective. Yeah, you're not. I love it, because you're not a party planner. You're an event planner, and to me, event is a more meaningful word, because it really, like you said, you're catching those talisman moments in people's lives. It's really pivotal moments, those hallmark moments where they go back and remember those particular moments in their life, those benchmark moments in their lives. And yeah, so it is an event. It's an important event, because I'm fortunate enough to, as an artist, I also work part-time with a wonderful interior designer, Randall Krim with JRC Designs, and he's going back to Boston shortly in the next couple of days to help celebrate and put together a 50th wedding anniversary for one of his longtime clients back in Boston. Mm-hmm. And I think about the effort that he's putting in to just the floral aspect. That's part of his contribution for the event. And I love that, the thought, because I went shopping with him downtown to the Flower Mart, and all the thought that's going into each element of what he's putting together, because he really wants this to be a lasting memory for this couple who is celebrating this benchmark moment in their life, their 50th anniversary. So thank you for just really sort of highlighting the importance of what you do, and I'm glad that she, your client, really sort of, shook you a little bit, like closed your hand like your father did, and said, wait a minute, you are doing something right? That's important and meaningful. Yeah.
We have these
wonderful
moments in life, and it's a really remarkable thing. It's a beautiful experience to actually, a lot of times the guests don't know who I am. Why would they know who I am? I'm just someone behind the scenes, so I get to. And a lot of the events we do are super transformative. I mean, we have the good fortune to be able to do events where we actually create amazing environments out of nothing. And so it's really fun for me to sit back and watch people walk into a space that I've created and their faces, because they're walking into a tent, or they're walking into a warehouse, or they're walking into, behind a hedge onto a field, and they don't know what they're going to see. And all of a sudden, their mind is blown by what they're seeing. And at that moment in time, whether or not you've set the mood for the event. You know, I that's why I talk about emotionally manipulating things. I mean that in the most positive way. You know, some events you want people to walk into and go, oh, wow, this is great. Other events you want people to walk into and go, wow. You know, so you really get to know when you're standing by the door and people are walking in if you've achieved what's going to be the mood for the entire event right when they walk in. And that's a really exciting moment. And that's really fun. And a lot of events as an event planner will say that. Sorry.
Yeah, and you're reminding me of a wonderful, wonderful moment. I got my master's at Cal Arts up in Valencia, California, and when I was a student there, I was fortunate enough to go. I was student trustee for a couple of years there, and was able to go to the on the lot of 20th Century Fox to the opening night party for Edward Scissorhands, and Tim Burton directed. And this was right before you started Rrivre Works in '94. This was probably like 92.
I was just going to say you are older than I am.
Just a little bit. You watch your tongue there, young man. So I went into, on the lot there in one of the big, hangars there, and as soon as you walked in, all of a sudden, if you haven't seen the movie Edward Scissorhands, please watch it. It was so wonderful. Went into this big, huge hangar on the lot there, and all of a sudden, it was like I was in this neighborhood, like in the movie. And there were all these homes. You were like walking in the street. And to the left and to the right were these homes of all these different, like a yellow home, a blue home, a red home, a green home, with a matching car, the same color in the driveway. And in the very far end, in the distance looked like, like the castle on the hill. And it looked like you were in the neighborhood in the movie. And it was just astounding. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. And they managed to create such a wonderful experience for everyone who was attending that event that night. So, I'll never forget that, and you helped bring that moment back to life just now. So, yeah, I think what you're doing is incredible. And you described your company and how many people, how many artists that you actually give the opportunity to do their craft. And so I look at Rrivre Works as sort of like a village of craftsmen and artisans. So for our audience, would you describe the various professional skilled services that your team provides?
Well, it's a lot. We have obviously carpenters, and when I say carpenters, I'm not the kind of carpenters that build a house, although we can build a frame for a house and make it anything you want. But we have carpenters that are really, really amazingly versed. I mean, they can spin wood, they can lathe it, they can do veneers. We have these. I came up with a concept. A client wanted urns at the end of her aisleware. I'm like, oh my God, if I do another urn at the end of an aisleware, I'm going to just absolutely puke. And everything in her party was this beautiful wood that we had done, kind of the restoration hardware style wood, that finish, that grayish finish, distressed. And we had built the aisleway, and we built this little pergola for her. We built everything out of that. And I said, what if we do urns out of wood? And she went, oh my God, I love it. She didn't love the price, but she loved the concept. So
they never love the price. Let's be honest,
right? But we ended up doing them, and I was so proud of my carpenters because I basically drew an urn, and I said, we need to make this urn, and they looked at me like an urn out of wood, and I said, yep. And we created, we meaning collectively, they built it, an absolutely stunning, not rustic, but not super refined, but very elegant urn out of wood. And it looked stunning where it was supposed to be. And it just kind of said to me, my carpenters are so amazing. They can build anything. So I've got a great team of carpenters that have yet to, I say, I want a table that holds water. I want a table with fire spinning around in it. I want whatever it is I say, they do it. So I'm really blessed to have that. Because now they know better than to tell me not to. Because when I first started working with them, they used to say, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, let me show you how. Because I used to be building houses with my dad. So now they know not to say no. They just figure it out. But so my carpenters are remarkable. We have an embroidery department, believe it or not. We have a 20-head embroidery machine. So we and each head has 9 needles. We're able to do 9 colors of thread at a time, 20 pieces at a time. And that came about because we've been working with this embroidery company for like 6 years, and a lot of the embroidery jobs have been shipped over to China. So he was going to sell his machine to some Chinese company and ship it to China. And I freaked out because I had started incorporating a lot of embroidery into my events, and I'm like, wow, how am I going to like get a quick turnaround and like a 20-head machine? Not many people have that big a machine, and I need like 60 pieces at a time. So we actually bought his company, and he now works with us running the embroidery department. So that's a really great asset for us. I think we're the only event company that has one as far as I know. Of course, we have painters. So our painters paint whatever we create. We customize a lot. So, you know, if somebody loves our Hampton bar, but they want it in black or blue or gray, we're able to paint it. And we do really beautiful paint jobs. We spray paint, not with a little bottle, but with a big, real spray gun, spray booth, so that we get like, you know, car finish kind of look on our products, which is really nice. And we do faux painting. They can do any kind of faux painting, gold leafing, any of that stuff, which is awesome. Again, whatever I can dream up, my team can do in that area. We, of course, have an upholstery department because we build all of our own furniture frames and then we upholster them. And we've actually developed some really cool, like, proprietary little secrets on how to build furniture in a way that we can do slipcovers. So when we put the slipcovers on, they don't actually look like slipcovers. They look like upholstered pieces of furniture. So I build the joints in the furniture a little bit differently than people would normally build. So we can slip a tongue in there, not a human tongue, of course, but a tongue of fabric and wrap it around. And,
Thank God.
Yeah. I could see you trying. I really could.
Well, you know, someday. You keep dreaming.
So that's it. So anyhow, we have the upholstery department. Obviously, we have the sewing department because we do, you know, I'm bragging on my team again, but we do absolutely amazing drape ceilings. We do hard ceilings in tent with fabric on it, mirrors, and everything else. So I have an incredible sewing department that's, again, able to, you know, kind of execute any tent design I've been able to come up with, which is awesome. Because sewing is one thing I don't do, so they teach me on that aspect. I say, yes, you can. They're like, no, we can't. I'm like, let's figure it out.
Well, we're not going to put you on RuPaul's Drag Race because, you know, sewing is very important, so just keep that in mind.
I would not look cute on that.
I'm just saying, me either, because I'm not a sewer, but it doesn't mean you can't make the top 3 at Del Delano. Okay, carry on.
That's super glue, maybe, you know? So what else do we have? Oh, we have welding.
You have welders.
We have welders. We do metal work. So, which is great. So I think basically we touch pretty much all of the things. We used to do flowers in house. We no longer do flowers. About 8 or 10 years ago, I took a look at the industry, and a lot of florists started coming to me and wanting to rent props and stuff for me. I'm like, wow. So I'm kind of competing against these people who are renting from me, and I thought, that seems like a business model that won't last very long. And so I kind of looked at the market, and I realized for every one person who does what I do, there's about 5,000 florists. And I thought, you know, the market's got a lot of really wonderful florists. You know, it probably doesn't need me to keep doing flowers. I'm probably not going to be that missed if I stop doing flowers, although my designs were really interesting. But I haven't been missed.
Brilliant. Let's be real.
And so we no longer do that. But other than that, we pretty much do all aspects of what it takes to transform a space. And it's, you know, what else? So far, I think that's all the people we have.
I think so. I mean, because you went right down the list. I'm marking them off as we go. Yes, the Rrivre Works Incorporated in-house team of design artisans can provide upholsterers, carpenters, painters, welders, sewers, and embroidery. I think that's pretty amazing. Now, you have a house in Los Angeles. Well, we do our homework here on MCG. Thank you, Jesus. Yes, within your Los Angeles downtown 45,000 square foot warehouse, you carry an exclusive selection of products including furniture, lighting, accessories, and props that can be mixed and matched and customized to create a one-of-a-kind event space. My. Now, with that in mind, as we've mentioned, with working with your clients, do you find, because you have a few years under your belt doing this, do you find that most people don't know what they really want when they're planning an event?
Oh, gosh. Do I do the PC answer or the real answer to that question?
Give us the real answer.
The real answer? Whatever.
Yeah,
well,
the three vodka answers.
I'm really good at telling them what they want.
Yeah. No, that's a talent, and you did mention that earlier. I think that's really terrific. Of getting to the point of really, really showing people what they truly need and what they want. What the talent really is letting them tell me what they want. They told me is what I want. But no, I really do listen to them, and they have. It really depends on the client. Brides are one of two ways. They either come in and go, I love that, I love that, I love that, I love that, I love that. That's not my style. I love that, I love that. That's what I want. It's like, bingo, wow. And then you have people come in, and brides that come in and go, oh, my God, I love everything. Here's my Pinterest. And you look at their Pinterest, and it is all over the board. And so you basically say, give me some words. Give me some words that resonate with you. Is it modern? Is it elegant? Is it vintage? So I kind of try and pull words out of their things that resonate with them, and then I put a picture together around that. I put a picture together around how they describe themselves and their style, because that is something more and more that I'm seeing in events. Well, I'm helping create in events is really helping the especially on social events, I'm speaking, helping the couples express themselves and who they are through their environment and decor and florals and all the rest of it. It used to be, just big and grand and bold and whatever we could do to make it shocking. And really now, more of a, I think that kind of ended when I saw furniture hanging on a ceiling at an event, and I went, okay, we've gone too far. Like, really? Like, come on. So now it's just, to me, that was like the end of it. But now it's more about them expressing themselves. So I really want to get down to who they are and what it is that they're trying to convey to their guests. Again, setting the mood. But I do. Yeah. So when you come across a bride, in this case, like you said, some people know what they want; they're very clear. But when you come across a bride whose Pinterest, as you said, is very, very scattered, your process for focusing them, just really getting them to sort of really throw you specific words, just writing down, getting them to really focus in on keywords that sort of describe what they want or how they see themselves.
Yeah, both what they want, how they perceive themselves. The people will tell you how they see themselves. Like, I mean, they'll say, oh, well, I'm modern, but I really I'm a little bohemian, or I'm very Chanel, but I have kind of a vintage feel to my style. So those are really strong.
Those don't work together.
But that's my job. I have to make them work together.
Oh, okay.
I have to make them work together.
Yeah.
They drive me crazy, but I have to do it. And the great thing about it is this is a great thing about what I do. I can do stuff that you can't normally get away with because you can live with anything for 5 hours. for 5 hours you can live with anything. And I don't mean gross stuff, but what I'm saying
that's how I feel when I go back home to visit my parents in Ohio. I can live with them for 5 hours. And then I'm out of the door. I'm out the door. So, yes, you are correct.
No, but what I mean is that when you're not sitting in an empty living room analyzing everything visually in that room, when you think about the fact that we're designing spaces for numbers of people, and what we really want to do is focus their attention on the different elements and of course how they work together, but how things work together in an event are entirely different than how they work together in a home setting or in an office setting, because we're talking about, we're trying to manipulate people's emotions and their spirits and everything else. So we want to shock them. We want them to see stuff. We want them to go, oh, that's odd. That's interesting. Wow. And the thing that I always say is, nobody sees every element of what you do in an event, but every element of what you do at an event is seen by somebody.
Yeah.
So,
because as you mentioned, because that donkey at the bachelor party event is not going to work at the office. It's not going to work. But kudos to you for putting it at the event. All I'm saying, I've seen The Hangover.
Oh my goodness! But
I know. That's the Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon kicking in. No.
Hey,
Rrivre.
Maybe it's time for
hey. Now, what are some of the most rewarding and challenging aspects of working with celebrity clients?
Well, obviously the rewarding part is easy. I mean, the exposure is great. Obviously, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever it is, in our society, when you've done work for somebody that everybody knows, you become somewhat of an expert, whether it's warranted or not. People look to you as apparently you've made it, or what have you. And so it's great to see your work in a magazine. The time I don't take credit for it, but it's great to see your work in a magazine. It's great to be able to get your foot in the door by saying, oh, these are this is Rrivre Davies. These are the events he's worked on. In our crazy world, whether it's garbage work or good work, people open the door for you. So it happens to be that I do great work, so it works in my favor. So that's obviously the rewarding stuff. And you get to push the envelope because there's a bigger budget a lot of times. So you really get to, and when there's a bigger budget, it's because they want to impress. So you really get to push the creative envelope. So those are some of the rewarding aspects. The not so rewarding aspects. I mean, a lot of times they're a truncated timeline. They're much shorter timelines. It's oftentimes a little bit less of an intimate experience with end client. You don't because you're going through the handlers and the agents and the finance people and the managers and everybody else. Because everybody's suspicious of everybody, so you don't always get that one-on-one, what is it that you want? What are you really going for? Like, you don't get that intimate quality time with them, and you don't see that vulnerability. There are exceptions, and when it happens, it's amazing. We did Kaylee Cuoco's wedding on New Year's Eve, and I didn't work with Kaylee as much as I was able to work with. On The Big Bang Theory, most amazing woman ever, by the way. I didn't get to work with her as much as I worked with her interior decorator, of all things, who actually ended up being one of the coordinators for the event. And she had a really, really, really good idea because of her intimate relationship with Kaylee of what Kaylee wanted. So when I was giving her ideas, she would take them to Kaylee, but she was also able to interpret them. So when all was said and done, it was everything Kaylee wanted because she had such a great relationship with her decorator. who was able to filter my ideas to them. And so although I didn't have a lot of contact with Kaylee, I did with someone who was real intimate with her, which was awesome. And Kaylee was just the sweetest thing. And by the way, that was, of all the weddings I've done in all my years, their vows were the cutest, sweetest, most adorable, most sincere, loving, hysterical, emotional vows I've ever seen in my entire life. They were off the charts.
Oh, wow.
It was a great experience.
Now, in terms, what about, because you also did the wedding, Kim Kardashian's second wedding, and then Khloe's most recent wedding as well. Were you able to work with both of the Kardashian girls directly? Did you have meetings with them directly, or was it another experience that you were mostly with their team in terms of working? Designing the wedding?
Khloe, we had 8 days. From the time they said she's getting married to the day of the wedding. I think we had 8 or 9 days. So, and 4 of those days. That was
the challenge part of it.
Yeah, 4 of those days were the setup. So we only had 4 or 5 days of prepping it. So I didn't have time to talk to her. Quite frankly.
No kidding.
All I knew was she wanted black, white, and lavender, and she wanted modern but romantic. And it was going to be in a tent, and I knew the size of the tent, and I knew they wanted a lounge and a candy bar because Lamar loves candy. So I just drew it out, and I said, here you go. They're like, looks good from a floor plan. And I said, okay, close your eyes and watch what shows up. And they loved it. On Kim's, we did have a few meetings with Kim, you know, where she did walkthroughs and she said, "Oh yeah, I like this," or didn't like that. So we had a little bit more contact with Kim because there was more time. There was more time on that one. She dealt more with the planner, but when it came to the design aspects, I did deal with her on that. Yeah,
it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So good work on that.
Thank you very much.
Now let's segue here into a little bit more about you personally. Because, you know, I always, don't you get nervous on me. Now as, you know, prior, all my guests, I like to ask them to give me their bio and things like that, because I want to know about their background. But I also want to kind of dig into, like, what is important to you? What really excites you? What really are you impassioned by? And other than just the craft that you do, particularly whatever your line of work or passion is, but your special interests, your causes, your bucket list. And in your special interests, you gave me really a nice layout here. You're involved with children's charities, HIV charities, and environmental charities. So I did a little bit of homework here, and I went through the independent CharityWatch.org, who gives ratings to a wide range of charities. So with regards to children's charities, they give the following 3 children's charities A+ ratings. Child Find of America, which is at childfindofamerica.org, SaveTheChildren.org, and Unbound.org, which is formerly Christian Foundation for Children and Aging. They get A+ ratings. So what particular children's charities are important to you that you're connected with?
You know, I don't have any particular affiliation with any given charity, with the exception of one large charity in Santa Barbara that I just flat out donate my services. They help me with labor, but I donate everything else for in Santa Barbara, my hometown. It's called Pacific Pride Foundation, and it's helps disadvantaged people with HIV and AIDS, whether they're gay or straight, but it has a food bank, and they help people get in housing and medical care and everything else. And, I grew up in Santa Barbara, so it's near and dear to my heart that I want, my community preserved and people there help. But other than that, when I say those are charities that I have a strong interest or affiliation to, we get asked a lot to do charity events. Obviously,
sure.
Part of what we do. So when it comes to charities that are I had to choose something. So when it comes to charities that are in those three categories, I try and help them out by giving them a much steeper a discount. Now, I give larger discounts than any other event company gives charities across the board, but with those I try and do a little bit more. The reason I don't do a lot of charities right flat out and free, and I tell charities this, and when I tell them they get it, is because if I gave my workout for free for a few charities, I couldn't help all the charities. So basically, I give a huge discount to true charities, not private school fundraisers, but to true charities, so I can spread it across the board. So essentially, I'm making no money on a lot of these events, but I'm able to charge a little bit to cover the labor and cover taxes and expenses, and then just really help a lot more charities out. And I had to limit it to something because I can't do that for every charity in the world, but there's a number of different organizations. LA Family Housing has come to me. We do help them out a lot on some stuff, and I know we've done stuff for UNICEF in the past. The Susan G. Corman Foundation, we've done a lot of stuff with in the past. Is that how you spell it? Corman?
Breast cancer.
Yep, breast cancer.
Susan G. Corman.
Coleman, that's right. Gosh, I can't even remember all of them just because I just they come across my desk and I'm like, yes. I'm a sucker. What can I say?
Well, I think our audience will understand because like I said, you are with your company Rrivre Works Incorporated. You're employing a whole village of craftsmen and artisans. So you can't once that snowball starts rolling down the hill, if you're doing it all for free, then you kind of feel obligated to use that across the board. So you got to set some kind of a standard. And obviously, what you're saying is that you want to participate, you do want to give back, and so you set that standard by giving a deep discount, so that giving yourself an opportunity to continue to keep your business running and also be able to give back. I think that's very important.
Yeah, we're proud of the pricing we give charities because I've done all my research and I know they get a better deal from us than they do anybody else, and that's important to me. I mean, I had hoped, interestingly enough, when I had started this business years ago, that I would someday be a wealthy man and be able to do actually charity events for free across the board, just have a business that just charges charity costs on all events. I'm not quite rich like that yet, but I'm still trying.
You're getting there. Rrivre. We're pulling for you.
Right.
We're pulling for you. Now, we mentioned 3 children's charities. I want to mention the other 2 categories that you brought up, and I thank you for bringing this up because it gives us an opportunity to sort of spread the word about worthy charities that some of our audience might want to check out. So now, with regards to HIV charities, CharityWatch.org gives high marks to the following 3 AIDS charities: American Sexual Health Association at ASHASTD.org, the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation at PEDAIDS.org, and the Gay Men's Health Crisis, GMHC.org, which I think was featured in the recent HBO film The Normal Heart.
My mom keeps talking about that. She keeps saying I need to see that.
Excellent. You have to watch it.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful. Oh, yeah, and the lead actor, Jim Parsons from Big Bang Theory, speaking of Miss Cuoco from the same show, plays a pivotal role in that movie, and he's wonderful. So anybody who hasn't seen The Normal Heart and wants to see the very beginnings of what the Gay Men's Health Crisis really is the focal point of that. I really encourage you to watch that. It's really, really terrific. But the final charity category that you did bring up, thanks to you, environmental charities. And CharityWatch.org gives A+ ratings to the following 3 environmental charities: EarthWorksAction.org, the League of Conservation Voters at LEV.org, and the Sierra Club Foundation at SierraClubFoundation.org. So thank you, Rrivre, for giving us the opportunity to highlight these various children's, AIDS, and environmental charities on the show tonight. So,
The Sierra Club has been an amazing environmental charity for years upon years upon years upon years upon years. It's been amazing. And we've done the Pediatric AIDS Foundation. That is another organization that we have done work with before in the past.
Yeah. So so thank you for that charitable work that you do. I think that's really important because that helps. I think it helps feed your spirit, and it's good karma, kids. Good karma. Good karma.
Right? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on to your bucket list because I thought your bucket list was so cute. I love it. Now, the very first thing on your bucket list, because people's bucket lists are very, very personal and a very, I think, kind of a wonderful insight into their character. So the first thing on your bucket list is make it until tomorrow. Make it until tomorrow. Oh, that Rrivre Davies. The first thing he wants to do is make it through the day and wake up in the morning. Okay. Now, yes. Would you call this your live each day to the fullest mantra? Is that what you would say this is?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. My what?
Would you call this your sort of live each day to the fullest mantra?
Oh yeah, I mean basically. I really, yes. I mean, I think people put so much pressure on themselves to do something grand in life, and I think, the way I look at it is life, and I love the saying is life is what happens when you're making plans. So, I have, it's totally the truth. And I'm going to be totally honest. In my business, we suffered 3 huge crises, one right after the other, and it turned my business, our industry, upside down. The writer's strike.
That's life. It happens, kid. The writer's strike, number one.
Then 9/11.
Yes.
And then the economic crash.
Yeah.
And so,
or the George Bush administration, as I like to call it.
Well,
kids.
There's so Carlos didn't tell you enough about me, I guess.
Oh my goodness.
So there's I really honestly, people in my industry were going out of business right, left, and center. So I kind of really readjusted where my happiness was and what I wanted, and it wasn't going on great vacations every year or anything else. It was, it became keeping a roof over my head, keeping all of my employees employed. I didn't lay anybody off, which killed me, but I wanted to stand by them. Able to just do what I did yesterday, again tomorrow, but a little bit better. And I figured if I kept doing that, then I would get to a point where I could dream bigger again at some point. But I couldn't deal with the extra burden of dreaming big in the last 5 years. It was just too much. And now things have turned around, and we just merged with 2 new companies, and they work with us now, and it's a whole new business now, and now I can reset some goals, I think, but yeah, that is the first thing on my bucket. I guess that's kind of part of my humble background is make yourself tomorrow.
Yeah. No, I love it. I thought that was really interesting. Now, number 2 on your bucket list is to own a house somewhere tropical. So what, the valley isn't tropical enough for you? So I'm just thinking, so I want to know, what are your top 3 tropical home bucket list locale?
Well, I think somewhere in the Caribbean would be my first choice, and I say that because, again, I'm half English, and I really do love the English island culture in a lot of the. Again, I haven't been to a lot of the Caribbean. It's not one of the places I've been to a lot. I've been to some of it, but I just love that whole mixture of the British culture and the island culture. I also like the cultural diversity in the Caribbean a lot. With the African influence, the South American influence, the Central American influence.
Sure.
There's a lot is happening there. French culture, English culture. So I think the Caribbean would be one of my top choices, just because I like the history as well. Love the old buildings.
Perhaps
love
somewhere in like St.
architecture.
Thomas St. Croix, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. So taking donations, by the way. And then Hawaii is, Hawaii is everybody's, top of the list dream. Hawaii is amazing, and it's only 4.5, 5 hours from LA. So,
is there a particular Hawaiian island that comes to mind?
Only because I kind of like get a little claustrophobic. I would probably say the Big Island or Oahu, just because I think as much as I want to be in a tropical place, I'm probably going to want a little bit of activity. But again, I'd have to travel more over there and find out. My parents didn't take us fun places like that. They took us to flipping Eastern Europe and Turkey and China and Morocco and Namibia and crazy places.
So you had to sleep like a sleeping bag on the Great Wall of China. That sounds like fun.
Actually, I was in China as one of the first about 3,000 people that were allowed in when they opened to tourism. So my parents were kind of crazy about that stuff. But and then the weird tropical place that I would quite possibly consider, because everyone in my family's been there a million times and say it's amazing, I haven't gone yet, is Thailand. Because Thailand has some beautiful tropical places, and the food is awesome, the people are friendly, the culture is rich. It's a little far from here, but by then I might want to get away from all these people.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you in Thailand because it's on my bucket list too. So
well, maybe we need to go together.
I'm just saying, we'll eat well and we'll travel well. I love it because I love to camp, and I love to camp, as you know.
I don't camp anymore.
Oh, fine. No show tunes for you. Okay, now number 3 out of 4 on your bucket list is get married. So that made me, of course, being from a musical theater background, that made me think of this particular song. So we're going to take a little musical break before we discuss number 3 on your list of getting married. So listen in, kids. Listen in.
You hesitate because you have never been married. It frightens you. Believe me, it can work wonders. How the world can change. It can change like that due to one little word, married. See a palace rise from a two-room flat due to one little word, married. And the old despair that was often there suddenly ceases to be. For you wake one day, look around and say, somebody wonderful married me.
You don't think it would be better simply to go on as before?
Oh, of course, that's Married from one of my favorite musicals of all time, Cabaret.
Oh, my God.
I know. You're a little cherry-eyed. Now, Rrivre Davies, you've created some amazing event designs for notable celebrity client weddings. What are your takeaway lessons regarding marriage that you've learned from those experiences?
Wow, that is loaded.
Right?
Has
anybody ever asked you that question?
That is not fair. Okay.
I mean, come on. I understand, but we have. Go ahead.
No, here we go. This is one thing. This is a Rrivre tidbit. I actually like to talk to my grooms, because one thing that I think is I don't want to say missing. I don't want to say anybody's doing anything wrong, but the wedding day for the most part is the bride's day, and it should be. It should be. So whoever gets married to me needs to know it's my day. But it's a day where, so much is focused on the bride and how beautiful she looks and, her nails and she's pampered by everybody on that day. And I always fear that somewhere in the mix, the intimacy between the groom and the bride gets lost a little bit. So I talk to my grooms privately, of course, not in front of the bride, and I talk to them about different ways to actually keep reminding their bride that they exist and that they're important and that they're part of this today, and really it's about the two of them. So, I tell my grooms, have a little something on her bathroom counter when she wakes up in the morning. Just a little something, whatever it is, whether it be a love note or, her favorite little pastry or a beautiful little ring or a hairpin, something, Then when she goes to the room where she's going to get ready, have something in the room where she's going to get ready for her. Another something special. Then when you go to sit down at the table at night after at the reception after you've gotten married, have a little treat on her seat. When you get in the limo, have a little treat in the limo. And then when you get to the hotel, have a treat at the hotel. And I say this because what bride is not going to love that man forever if he's actually gone to all this extra little detail attention the day of the wedding when everyone is supposed to be taking care of everything, but he's still focused on her? And grooms do it, and they love it, and they're like, oh, my God, Rrivre, thank you. Because then that bride goes and brags to all her girlfriends about what an amazing man she has, and he did this, that, and the other, and she feels like the queen. She should.
Oh, you men are all alike. 7 or 8 quick ones, and you're off with the boys to boast and brag. You better keep your mouth shut. Oh, I think I love you.
You couldn't wait to push that button, could you? You couldn't wait to push that button, could you?
I was waiting. I was so excited.
Oh my God! So that's what
I think that's terrific. I love that. I think that's really a wonderful gift that you're giving that couple by helping them to continue to embrace the intimacy in the cacophony of this whole event that's going on. You're sort of filtering out the noise level and really helping them focus on the intimacy of just the two of them and the importance of that relationship, because that's, at the end of the day, they're going to be with each other.
Right.
So they got to feed that relationship all along the way. You can't let that wane at any given point. So I think that's really smart on your behalf, and I think that is that there's a lot about your character. So kudos to you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So that's one of my little things that don't get lost.
I love that. But your fourth and final bucket list. Not that you only have 4 items on your bucket list, because I'm sure there are more. But you've shared with us 4, and I'm glad that you have. And number 4 is create abundance to keep giving back. And I think I love this bucket item list most of all. In what ways do you feel that you, Rrivre Davies, are currently creating abundance in your life and giving back? And are there other ways that you're hoping and planning to create abundance that you can continue to give back?
Well, as I said, my business went through, as many people did, a really tough time when the economy went through those hits. And I really focused the entire time that was happening on being really, 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 really good to everybody around me when that was happening. And now everybody's feeling a little bit more abundant because the economy is turning around a little bit. And I've been blessed. I have this group of people around me now I through this bad economy, I was able to filter out the noise and get rid of the people who weren't actually on the same team. And now I have this great, amazing group of people around me who are basically all coming together with the same mission, saying, let's create something that we can continue to give. I mean, I have no selfish people on my team at this point in time, and they're all about pitching in, creating something, because they all know the mission. They all know I love doing charities. They all know I want to give back to people who don't have the same opportunities. And so I've got a team of people who are actually saying, hey, how can we help here and how can we help there? And I really feel it's not just me, but my entire team now is really creating abundance, because they know the more work we have, the better we do, the more organized we can be, the more we can give away. And beautifully, everybody on my team really, really, really loves doing charity. I mean, they really like it because they feel like they're giving back too. And I think everybody with a heart likes doing that. So all that to say, my team is helping me create that abundance. And basically, being good to people has brought me a richness of opportunity with the new companies that I've had come into my fold. You know, they would have never come into my fold had they not known that I was a great person, because, you know, a whole lot of money to get them. They basically came to me and said, hey, you have a great organization. We want to be part of it. How can we merge with you and make it an even stronger organization? But it's because they knew I was a good guy. And so together we're all building this much stronger company, and we're able to give back a lot more. And it feels great. I mean, it just feels awesome.
I love it. I have two words to say to you and your company, and here they are.
When you hear the call, you got to get it underway. Word up.
Word
Oh, my
up.
God.
Word up, Rrivre Davies. This is not no ordinary talk show. No. This is fun in the sandbox with cocktails. You know that's true. Now, before we go to our closing segment, we're going to segue into our Just the Tip segment here before we end the show with some wonderful music inspired by you in Rrivre Works, Inc. So just
oh,
the
my
tip.
goodness.
Oh, honey. Oh, how many times have you heard that, right? Just the tip. Yeah. Don't be scared now. Don't be too scared. Just the Tip is our weekly list segment where our featured guest, that's you, Rrivre Davies, and I, OMTG, your host, will give you just enough info to get you started. Now, after all, we're entertainment prostitutes, not whores. We don't just give it away for free, kids. That's right. There is a small shipping and handling charge. Thank you. Now, our featured tip list this week comes from About.com. Quick tips offered by event planners that you can use. How nice. Event tips that we can use. Now, event planning tips that we can use. Now, number one, and I'm going to get your feedback on this because it's very important because you are an expert in this field. Now, number one, quick tips offered, reduce room attrition fee. A day or so before your event, find out if your hotel is booked. If so, you can use that to get them to waive any attrition fees you may have incurred. Is this something that you find is a helpful tip or something that you've used yourself?
You know what? I haven't tried that. I haven't tried that.
Are we learning you something today?
Well, if I throw a party, everybody shows up. But you know, of course. But no, I have not heard about that. So yes, I have learned something today.
Oh, good. Yeah, because most contracts that you have, let's say the event is taking place at a hotel, and part of the experience is booking a certain percentage of the rooms for that event. Mostly the level is like an 80% and above. So once you reach the 8% booking rate on your contract, then you're good. So ask them if you've reached that level that's in the contract, and see if you can't get the attrition fees waived. That can help cut down on your overall costs for your event. So if you book the rooms and you brought them business, and they can give you a little. So I thought that was a really helpful hint.
Look at you, Mr. Smarty
here.
Pants.
No, I'm just saying, too, I'm smart, too. Mm-hmm. It's the company I keep. It's the company I keep. Now, number 2 of our tips for planning an event, arrive 1 hour early for site visits. Show up at least 1 hour before your scheduled site inspection unannounced. In that time, walk around, try to interact with staff like you're a guest, ask directions, ask difficult questions as if you were not a seasoned traveler, and look in the restaurants and eat there if you have time, and ask for recommendations for a local restaurant just to see the responsiveness of the staff. So what do you think about that, sort of an unannounced site visit before you would like checking out that as a possible place to have the event?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's I've never heard of doing it an hour before, but yeah, absolutely, an unannounced site visit when they don't know who you are, not necessarily interacting with the management of the event staff or the people in the event staff, I think is absolutely important. And that's why you find a lot of people will actually have events at places they've been to events at because they're comfortable with the service they got. They're happy with the service or whatever. But if it's an unfamiliar venue for you, absolutely, it's a great idea. For sure.
Now, do you go, because you're let's be honest, you're not exactly unknown in the event planning arena. So do you go like Pee Wee Herman and do you like put a little scarf around your head and big glasses and disguise yourself?
Well,
do you go incognito?
People know my name more than they know my face, but no, because oftentimes we know the management staff. We work with the management staff, but not necessarily the people who are the service staff. So the people you're interacting with are they're the ones who are oftentimes the management staff is a sales team that brings in the event, and they're not actually the people who are serving you or actually dealing with your event. So there's no need for that. You just really go into a hotel and you get the sense of the corporate culture of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point. Now, some of these may not exactly fit in line with the events that you do, but I think that from your experience as an event planner, I think that you'll have some great feedback on it, particularly this one here. I thought this was kind of clever. Now, number 3 is reserve last rows to fill front rows. Want to fill those empty tables at the front of a banquet? Nothing looks worse than empty tables in front of your stage on banquet night, especially when you have a guest speaker. Put reserve signs on the last 2 rows of tables in the ballroom, which forces people to look at tables closer to the stage. Once those front tables are filled, pull the reserve signs and fill the tables in the back of the room, too. I thought that was very clever. What do you think of that?
That is very clever. That's very clever. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of an event that I've done where there's been empty tables, but if you
I don't think that's something you have to deal with. But I thought,
But if that's the situation, it's a very clever idea. It's all about manipulation.
I thought that was very smart. Yeah. It's like, It's like it's a smart manipulation. I think very smart.
There you go.
Yeah. Now number 4 on our list, and I thought because I thought some of this number 4 sort of reminded me of the fact that you still have your grandpa's toolbox. So with that in mind. Number 4 is use a fishing tackle box for a supply kit. Purchase a fishing tackle box and put any miscellaneous items you would need for your meeting: pens, staples, paper clips, box cutter, scissors, etc., etc., etc. Everything is organized in one spot to help save time when needed. Make sure you have a list of content. Stock the tackle box when you return home before you find yourself at the next meeting and something is missing. I thought that was kind of fun and interesting, and just making sure you have all the T's crossed and your I's dotted. What do you think of that one?
I think it's great, but they think small. I bring a semi full of stuff.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Rrivre Davies, it's up in the ante. I love it. Yes. You have a fish tackle box. He's got a semi. Okay, bring it. That is brilliant. I love it. I love it. Oh my God, that's brilliant. I could see me standing there with my little fish tackle box, all like, and up and down a little bit too, thinking I'm special. And here you come with an 18-wheeler. Oh my God! And talk about feeling inadequate at the gym. Oh, okay, fine.
An 18-wheeler with a hot driver, by the way. There you go.
Thanks. Right? With that Latin Studies Latino from Mickey's, the go-go dance at Mickey's. Okay, I love it. Think big, kids. Think big. Okay, number 5, and the last one on our list before we end the show with some wonderful music. Number 5, and this is very, very, very helpful. Effectively negotiate with your vendors. First point, there are 3 points here. Under effectively negotiate with your vendors. Thoroughly read the contract so that you know the following. What's the payment structure and timeline? Is there a contingency clause in case something goes terribly wrong, a force majeure that frees both parties from liability and obligation? And what's the cancellation policy? So what do you think of that, about reading the contract so that you know those particular items?
It's really, really, really important that the public educates themselves, and I'm speaking again largely for social events. The public educate themselves on the pricing structure, the commission structure, cancellation policies, all of this stuff on their contract. We tend to think of it just as, oh, it's an event, it's a party, it's a business. It's a business, and I guarantee you the people running the businesses to do your event are running their businesses like a business for them. So it's really smart for the clients to have a really strong eye on exactly what it is they're getting, how the vendors are being paid. There's a lot of not such pretty stuff that goes on with a lot of people in this business. Hidden commissions and people saying, oh, this sofa costs this, but it really costs less, and they're actually taking money out of it. And, so it's really important for people in the social arena to really ask questions and understand the prices rate. And don't be embarrassed. It's not about being cheap or penny pinching or anything. It's about educating yourself, because you're going to spend a lot of money on your events, and you really want to make sure that you're educated around it.
Yeah, it's not just a party. It's an event with a contract. It's really important that you know all the stipulations in that contract. So, so thoroughly read that contract. Know your payment structure timeline. Know the contingency clause, and know the cancellation policy. And the number 2 of the 3 points under effectively negotiating with your vendors is don't bankroll your client's events. And I think this one's really wise. Vendor contracts are between the vendor and the client, not between the vendor and the event planner. Clients make direct payments to the vendors and negotiate the vendor-client contracts to make certain that they fit yours and the client's needs for the event. What are your thoughts on that?
I know people who do it both ways. I don't think it's necessarily. It doesn't hurt the end user, the client, at all if all the money goes through the planner. As a planner, I probably wouldn't do it, because I want the contract to be between the event thrower, the client, and the vendor, because if something goes wrong, I'm there to make, as a planner, I'm there to make sure nothing goes wrong. But you could get yourself in a world of hurt if all you're doing is funneling the money through.
Which I think brings up a real trust issue as well. There's an element of trust there.
Yeah, well, the whole trust thing, they do sneaky stuff, whether the money goes through the planner or directly to the vendor. It's a real sticky situation in this business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as being less sticky, do you think the choice of keeping the contracts between the vendor and the client creates a less sticky trust situation?
Not for the end user. No, not at all.
Okay. Doesn't make a difference.
No? That doesn't make a difference.
Okay. That's a good lesson.
In my ever so humble opinion.
Please be humble with us, Rrivre, won't you? last done. Enough said, kids. Enough said. So the third point under effectively negotiating with your vendors is be honest. Be honest about the budget with your vendors. Give your vendors as much information as possible up front prior to their submitting any work proposals for an event. How important has this been for you as an event planner?
Oh, my goodness. If I could get budgets up front from my clients, they would save money because I would save time. I cannot tell you how many times people come into my world and say, I want this, and 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 I want this. And I say, great, what's your budget? We don't have a budget.
$5.
I say everybody has a budget. Everybody has a budget. Is it $1 million, or is it $100,000, or is it $10,000? We don't know. Well, okay, so I'm going to spend 5 days and design this amazing party and say, all right, it's $297,000. And then they're going to go, oh, my God, that's way out of our budget. The first words are going to be, that's way out of our budget. I'm like, okay.
We only have $5,000.
now
$292,000 outside of our budget.
Exactly. So you did have a budget. Because people think if they don't tell you what their budget is, they're going to save money. No, if you tell me what your budget
absolutely.
is.
That's such a good point. Know what your budget is up front as a client, and then as an event planner with your, so if you know that going into working with your vendors, it makes your life so much easier. Because like I said at the top of the show with you, that I work with Randall Kern with GRC Designs as an interior designer. And, that's an issue that we deal with all the time, that I see him deal with all the time, is getting people to understand what that means. What you want.
We want. Sorry. Yeah, we want to design. We want to design to their budget. We want if you tell me you have no budget and you say you like frilly stuff, I'm going to design an entirely new column and build it with frilly stuff. If you tell me you have a limited budget, I'm going to use one of the square columns I have, and I'm going to put frilly stuff in the recess. And I'm going to still give you your frilly stuff on a budget. So you're going to, it's just so much smarter.
Yeah. But you've got enough life experience and enough, product and resources at your disposal now, having built the business that you have, that you're able to really have a nice wide palette in terms of what you're able to offer. So, people need to know that going into it. So, that's wonderful. I love it. So that was a very, very helpful Just a Tip segment. Our audience is so appreciative this week. They just love them some Rrivre Davies. Yes. Oh, I love it. Now, Rrivre, we're running a little long tonight, but you know what? Like I said, we don't have time constraints in what we do. When we're having a good conversation, we don't stop ourselves midstream. But here we are, going into the home stretch here, and I hope you could stay with us. Do you have a little more time to stay with us?
Oh, sure, why not?
Oh, thank you. You're such a giving spirit. This is my budget. Work with it.
Vegas can wait.
Vegas can wait. Because we're going to end the show with some wonderful music. This is Jukebox 5, or Jukebox 5. This week's Jukebox song selections are designed to create that ultimate Hollywood-infused event spectacular, inspired in large part by this week's OMTG featured guest, Rrivre Davies. Mm-hmm. The creative force behind Rrivre Works, Inc., one of the world's leading innovators in event design. Now slip on your Jimmy Choos, kids, and sashay onto the scene with songs by Murray Head, Eddie Murphy, housewife of Atlanta's Kim Zolciak, newlywed Kim Kardashian, and the iconic Hollywood star of stars, Miss Marilyn Monroe. So let's kick off our jukebox segment here with One Night in Bangkok from Murray Head.
the purist. I get my kicks above the waistline, sunshine.
I get my kicks above the waistline, sunshine. Oh, yes. One Night in Bangkok, sung by Murray Head from 1984. This reminded me, because of your world travels as a kid and throughout your life, of just the wonderful places that you've been to and the wonderful experiences that you're able to bring to the events that you create and the sort of just the scenes that you, the experiences that you help create for the events that you do. So that seems like a natural choice. So, yeah.
Above the waistline.
Above the waist, well, not always above the waistline, but because you are in Vegas. So have at it, I say. Have at it, I say. You're not married yet, Rrivre, so just have as much fun as you want. No, but you also deal with a lot of celebrity clients. And so, you know, and you are about creating a wonderful event, a wonderful party experience for your celebrity clients. So this seemed like another natural choice for you. And this is from 1985, Party All the Time by Eddie Murphy. Yes, 1985, when you were just a glimpse in your parents' eyes, Eddie Murphy, Party All the Time, which is probably what you're doing in Vegas right now. All I'm saying. So, yeah, we can dream, can't we? Do you remember that song? Do you remember?
I have people texting me telling me I actually am married already. I have to find out who they are.
Oh, well, I love it. Well, that'll be our follow-up show. Our follow-up show. Who is Rrivre already married to? Mm-hmm. Now, the number 3 on our Jukebox 5 list is, you know, because you have dealt with some reality stars in events that you planned for 2 of the Kardashian girls, for Kim and Khloe. But this is Kim Zolciak from Housewives of Atlanta, and this is her I think her lesson to all of us: never to be tardy for the party.
Don't be tardy for the party. Don't be tardy for the party. Hurry up, baby, don't be late. I'll meet you at the place. I've been waiting for this day. It's the weekend, let's celebrate. Looking like a clever girl, covered in diamonds and pearls. Take the Benz out for a swirl. Drop that top, yeah, it's my world. Oh, no, you have to admit those are some inspired lyrics.
Rrivre. Expired like, don't be tardy. Have you ever been tardy for the party? Tell us.
Always.
What?
Oh, well,
you're tardy for the party?
Whoa. Wait, as a guest or as someone setting it up?
You tell us. Well, as somebody setting it up, I have the feeling that you're never tardy.
No, I have been tardy once. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare, but it all worked out. But it was a nightmare. But no, one time in 20 years. Come on now.
One time in 20 years, it was a nightmare, and you were late. That's you, because you were late.
5 minutes. 5 minutes late. Okay, it wasn't like I was an hour.
5 minutes.
5 minutes
late. That's nothing. But as a guest, do you always show up like fashionably late?
Well, you have to give people a chance to get. You have to give the host and hostess a chance to get situated. You know, the first people who come would be family and best friends. They arrive first. You give them a chance to get the lay of the land. You know, you come 15 to 20 minutes late. That way, you know, they have a chance to, like, you know, kind of get everything situated in case they're running 10 minutes late. You know, that's the whole reason for it.
You're very measured. I love it. Very, very thought. There's a lot of thought in what you do. I appreciate that. Now, now our list we'd be remiss if we didn't include one of your most notorious, famous, one of your I would say notorious. That's not quite correct, I don't think. One of your most notable is what I should say. Celebrity clients at number 2 from 2011, Kim Kardashian with Jam, Turn It Up.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. Love it. Don't be tardy for the party on this one. Here it goes, kids. Take a sip. Are you familiar with that little ditty?
I was not familiar with that song.
Oh yeah, Jam, Turn It Up by Kim Kardashian.
Wow.
You did.
I guess
wedding.
I didn't. I guess that's what got Kanye's attention.
Yes. Well, thank God.
For singing.
Yes. Right. You're singing. Yes. That's what caught my attention, and that's why I put it on the show tonight. Yes. Her singing. That's what it was. Now, to wrap up our Jukebox 5, I think, you know, and this is for the both of us, why not bring an iconic Hollywood star into the mix and to cap off our Jukebox 5? And this is something I wish for the both of us to get on that left hand ring finger. And this is by Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, that's right. I'm pulling for the both of us, honey. This is Diamond, our girl's best friend, from Marilyn Monroe, 1953.
Wow.
The French are glad to die for love. They delight in fighting duels. But I prefer a man who lives and gives expensive jewels. A kiss on the hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend. A kiss may be grand, but it won't pay the rental on your humble flat, or help you at the automat. Men grow cold as girls grow old, and we all lose our charms in the end. But square cut or pear shape, these rocks don't lose their shape. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Tiffany's, Cartier.
Oh, yes, 19th degree. Diamonds are girl's best friend. Marilyn Monroe, I wish the best for the both of us. Rrivre, you have been delightful, just marvelously delightful. And we're going to end the show tonight, say our goodbyes and our goodnights until we meet again, with one of your favorite songs from days gone by, "Killing Me Softly" by Roberta Flack from 1973.
Oh, God.
Yes. Yes. You have been killing me softly all night. So thank you. Thank you so much, Rrivre.
My pleasure.
For more information about our shows, co-hosts, guests, and topics, just go to facebook.com/OHMTG. Remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and Spreaker.com, and share with everyone you know. Now, Rrivre, are there any last little tidbits that you'd like to share with us, to leave us with a lasting moment, something profound that you want to just share with us in this moment?
Just to tell people that when you have these amazing events, just live in the moment and experience everything you can that time.
That's wonderful. Live in the moment, kids. Live in the moment. And read your contract. Read your contract. Yes. Thanks for tuning into OMTG. We are broadcasting a lively, sparkling new show every week, kids. And that's the truth. Yes, tune in, turn on, and live an authentic life. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Rrivre. Hope to see you soon. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
Good night. Good night. Enjoy Vegas.
Thank you.
Embarrassed by the crowd, I felt he found my letters and read each one out loud. I prayed that he would finish, but he just kept right on.